It's official, baby. We are in the SEC. We're going to dive into that and the latest commitment, all that and more here on the Sooner or Later Sports Show. Thank y'all for pulling up. I'm your host, Jay. Thanks for pulling up here on the YouTube channel and listening wherever podcasts are downloaded and listened to. While you're here, please wipe your feet, like, subscribe, rate us, review us, give us 5 stars. You don't think we deserve it? Just give us 5 anyway and gift it. So we've got the big group with us today. We got a lot of stuff to dive into because we're officially in the SEC, so we'll talk about the SEC move. We're also going to dive into the latest commitment that came down the line. We're going to talk about July 1, because July 1 is supposed to be potential for more. And then we'll wrap things up. If we have time, we'll take y'all's fan thoughts as well as dive into some who's going to be the top offensive producers for this squad next year. Hit us up on the Unfair Fan Line, 430-901-1906. Leave us a voicemail. Let us know what you think of the show. Give us your strongest opinions. We'll take all of that right there. So hit us up, 430-901-1906. Gentlemen, it is Sunday. Let's go around the horn like we always do. Coop, how you doing? PG, let us know how you feel, where they can find you, and then Jason, wrap us up. So Coop, lead the way.
It is we finished the first half of the year. Tomorrow is the second half, and we enter it. I am ready to go to ESPN.com and look under conferences and see Oklahoma and Texas right there. And we'll see if the Bless Your Heart, All-State, Big 12 gets their logos up. But it's a good day. It's a good day because this news broke 2 years ago, and today is the last day that's just news, and it's reality tomorrow.
I know, it's kind of weird feeling, right? So, PG, how you feeling, man? Where can they find you?
I'm really feeling like I'm about to spend entirely way too much money tomorrow with the equipment sale, and I've just seen what some of this SEC Oklahoma merch looks like. So, my pocketbook's about to be screaming and crying tomorrow, but I'm doing pretty good. Y'all know where you can find me.
Thanks.
I love it, PG. And Jason, you know the drill.
Hey,
how you feeling?
Man, I'm feeling great. Feeling great. Good to be on the show, man. Excited about the SEC. This is good times. So, hey, man, yeah, find me at Hall of Fame College Football with Jason and the Coach. It's at CFB-pod. Got lots of stuff going out pretty much daily. So, excited, man. Can't wait to get – we're now, 8 weeks away now, Jay? It's like right there.
Ooh, we're basically 8 weeks away now, man. It's wild to think at the fact that we are entered into the SEC. This is the last day, and for those checking this out first thing Monday morning or listening first thing Monday morning, we ain't in the Big 12 no more. We in the SEC, so we can do the chants SEC. So right, we're leaving the little whatever they are now. They're gonna have like 16 teams, and they got to figure that part out. But curious to see. Now that we've officially moved, let's go around the horn on this one. How soon do you think the Sooners can finish within the SEC championship game? How long do you think it'll take? Coop, lead the way.
We'll see what Bill Beanbo's got in store. Because you get oh my gosh, we got the Crystal Chicken Wing in the house. It's going to be this offensive line. What does this offensive line look like? What is the quality for the second team? And, what does health look like? There will be bumps along the road, but this team leads with defense. And, that's going to be something that's going to catch a few folks by surprise because nobody wants to believe in that. Everybody's going to be ready for Oklahoma's high-powered offense. And the first couple weeks, we're going to get vanilla. So, fans, be chill because we are going to get vanilla. And then once Tennessee hits, that's when the fireworks happen.
I agree with that one.
I think there's a chance this year. There's an absolute chance this year. And, a lot of people were saying the 25 season. I think just the leadership that we have currently, if you can get the tackles to really just come along, and I hear that is happening. So if that's the case, you can compete. But the goal's the natty, and so if we don't win the SEC championship and you continue to make yourself better week in and week out, You still got goals out in front of you. But yeah, I mean, I'd love to go in and play in that title game of the first. But that also means that your last 3 games of the season are going to be LSU, Alabama, Georgia. So you're going to be looking at a stretch like you've probably never seen before.
Yeah, that's probably the bigger thing. It's who's coming up on that schedule to lead to that. Jason, how long do you think Oklahoma's going to take to be able to get themselves in the SEC championship? Not win it, just get there.
Well, I mean, I think you're right. I think it could happen this year. I think that the leadership on the defensive side of the ball, the fact that you have the guys coming back that you do with Ethan Downs and obviously Billy Bowman, along with, clearly Danny Stutzman and even Woody. I think these guys coming back is going to be big for these younger kids, right? I also think that you're going to get the right kind of contribution from the younger classes. So defensively, I really feel good about this team. I do think that you're going to, and I mean, I'm still not in that place where I'm too worried about the offensive line. I mean, it's freaking Bill Bedenbaugh. You've got guys that have a lot of starts. We have more starts than anybody in the top 5 on our offensive line. Do they have to gel? Yes. Depth, I don't think is an issue there either. Competitive depth, we can drink up for that. But I don't think that that's a big issue either. I think that youth there matters as well. You've got some guys, not just the freshmen coming in. I mean, I love these redshirt freshmen, the sophomore kids. You start talking about guys like Heath Ozida and obviously Josh Bates and some of these other kids that are kind of starting to step up. It's starting to feel like it's coming together in a really good way. If you can get just even play out of Jackson, you're loaded everywhere else. I think Taylor Tatum is going to be a bigger piece to the puzzle than a lot of people think that he is as a freshman. I feel like he is. So, look, I think that the sky's the limit for this team. I've been teetering on the side of keeping it within reason, and I don't want to put too much on their plate, but I think that you do have an opportunity to do, just because of the fact of you have that upperclassman leadership, and it feels like it's just kind of coming together on that defensive side. If they make the move that we expect them to make this year on that side of the ball, you don't have to be great on offense, but I haven't worried about the offense once. I just haven't, man. It's Oklahoma.
That's a fair point. PG, how long do you think it'll take for the Sooners to be able to get into the SEC championship game?
Yeah, I mean, I'm not ready to make official predictions yet until we get to fall camp and we see and hear what's going on there. But talking to some of the players and hearing how things are going in practices, how things are developing. By the way, all the noise that they're hearing from just the national media itself. I've got this team winning 10 games right now, but I could 100% see them winning 11. I think 10 games is probably good enough to get you in that SEC championship game. The only thing that I really want so bad is I want OU and Texas to be in the SEC championship game together. That's what I want. Our first year in, I want both teams to be in that game, because that would just be a huge F you to every other.
Texas ain't going to make it, bro.
That would be hilarious if we did.
Like, gosh, I want that so bad.
That would be hilarious to see both teams actually make that in their first year. That would be a massive slap to the face of the SEC fans, because they would lose their minds, right? Thinking of the fact that how they walk in here and all of a sudden get up there, especially because, Saban's gone and everybody's now, for the most part, starting from scratch outside of Georgia. Everybody else is really just still trying to find their way without Saban. That would change the game. And shout out JC Lamb. What up, bro? Thank you for the $2. 12-0 Island. Okay, so you're on the island by yourself calling for an undefeated season. I'm here with Sooner Cowboy, though. I like to lay hands on an OU versus Georgia setup. I'm going to say I think that it'll take a year. I think this year I'm similar to you, PG. I think our floor is 9-3. I think our ceiling is 11-1. I'm sensing we'll probably get right there in the middle at 10-2. It's just going to be based upon, of course, maintaining health, attrition, all of that jazz. But next season, with the extended experience we should have from all the key players that we have on the team, I think next year is the year when Oklahoma really storms the SEC. Now, granted, as you said, Jason, very spot on here. We got Bill Beatonbow. The offensive line, I'm hearing, is gelling well. For them, it's all about just having experience and snaps together. The Mainline podcast, shout out to them. Check them out here on YouTube. They dropped a graphic about a week ago and showed that just snaps, maybe not snaps together, but just total snaps and teams in the SEC. Oklahoma has the most of people that have actually started in games in their career. In career starts, we lead the conference. Kind of a fascinating stat, right? Now, the other thing is all about them being coached and where they've been coached and them being coached here at Oklahoma under Bill Beatonbow. I don't think our line's gonna be like last year with the wide receiver room, that we're gonna be like, oh, okay, this isn't that bad, right? We're gonna recognize it. Oh, okay. And we talk about this every show. I'm just gonna remind y'all, especially when you get into fall camp, you're gonna be like, oh, we aren't that bad off, especially as they're training now. Gary and Hatchett is healthy. He's moving around and running. We're watching him run in film. That is a very encouraging thing. Still got Hickman. Bates is still learning everything. Waywu, everybody talks about how much of a monster he is. Gabe Eichert over there at the Oklahoma Breakdown really raves about him constantly. So you can have him and Hatchett as your guards, right? Uzeda is still learning, but I think he's going to be able to pull in and get a lot of snaps. Sexton and Taylor being your edges. Heard Spencer Hall doesn't practice well, but I heard that was the same thing at Michigan State, and he actually did play well. So overall, I think that fall camp's going to really be our heavy deferring factor. That in the first 3 games of the season, which I'm glad our first 3 games are what they are right now. So I'm going to give it a year, but I wouldn't be surprised if we see that Jason, actually all 3 y'all, right, that we actually end up this year. So all right.
I'm not exactly predicting it. I think that it's a possibility.
Fair.
We've been saying 2025 for a while now, but I just think that the fact that you got both of those guys to come back when we didn't really expect either one of them back, it kind of changes a little bit for me. And then I also think that, look, you have to look at Alabama and assuming that I think they're going to be better on offense. I don't know what they're going to be on defense right now.
But they're going to be very good on defense. That defensive line's back. Remember, they got all those 5 stars last cycle.
And most of the coaching staff is still there from the Saban regime. So yeah, I
expect that they're going to be good. I think that's the toughest game that you have on the schedule, really, even though it's at home.
That's fair.
Yeah, that's fair.
Very fair. That's very fair. That probably is going to be the toughest. Excuse me for. And I guess the thing that makes it even more tougher in my mind is that it's so late in the season, and by then DeBoer should have had things jailed. Right. They'll be done jailed like us, but they'll be done jailed at that point. Even though it is Death Valley, I am not as afraid of LSU as everybody else is.
Dude, their defensive line's trash.
Yeah,
I don't think they're going to be that good.
It's going to be rough. But I would tell you this though, man, weird things happen in that joint.
It ain't Auburn weird, but it does. They're rowdy. It's a great stadium, though. I'll tell you that. It's fantastic.
Auburn's the one that concerns me a little bit because they're returning their top 3 leading tacklers, which were all linebackers this season, and 2 of their 3 top leading defensive tackles. So Auburn's defense is going to be pretty stout again this year. That's one that scares me going into Jordan Hare.
Huh.
Now, offensively, Auburn's trash. But defensively, I think they're going to stand their own against us. This is where I think we'll really find out a lot about Oklahoma's offensive line is in the Auburn game, not necessarily Tennessee.
Well, and also that's going on the road that first time, right? That's being on that, after, and this is what they all talk about. You hear the other SEC creators talking about it. It's not necessarily the game that you have; it's the next game. So even though we're at home that first week, there's going to be a lot of energy expended in hosting our first SEC game up against Josh. There's a lot to it, and if it turns into a ball game, then you got to go on the road the next week. Good news is that one's a morning game, so it won't be as crazy, or hopefully it won't be as crazy. But again, I'm not overly worried about their offense. I know their receiver room got better, but yeah, I'm with PG. I think their D line is going to be. That'll be a good test. That'll be a good test.
Well, their linebackers are going to be pretty good too. I think the thing when you look at the first 2 games for Oklahoma starting into the SEC, they're both winnable. The Tennessee game, Oklahoma's played at Tennessee and had Tennessee in. I think they've had Tennessee in Norman, right? Or
yeah. That was.
I know there was one in
2013 or 14.
Yeah, because I think it was back in 2020 and that got canceled.
Yes.
But we've played them recently, so it's not like Tennessee is somebody you haven't seen before.
Want the same team, though.
Auburn, I think, is your entrance to the SEC because it's like, yeah, you've played them in a bowl game, but you haven't played in that environment before. So I think that's the true test for Oklahoma heading into the SEC. I think Tennessee is going to be kind of just this, yeah, we've played them before. We know what we're seeing. It's Josh Heupel. Like, I think it's expected Oklahoma's going to come in there and win that game. Probably by 2 touchdowns, I would say.
Yeah, and it's the good in mentioning that, playing Tennessee, those Butch Jones teams were not bad, right? They were 8-9 win season teams. He just couldn't keep that continuity going. And Heupel now is breaking in a new quarterback. He's got the best defensive lineman in the country in James Pierce Jr. But that's it, right? Like when I went through a lot of the ratings on all the teams or whatnot, Tennessee's not rated very high in any other position besides that edge, right? Everything else is they're still piecing things together. So that's the good thing for us. The only team we're playing against that truly brings back continuity is going to be Texas and Ole Miss and Missouri. That's really it. Everybody else is still trying to figure a lot of things out. Tennessee is still trying to figure out, Nico has one actual start, so we'll see what, similar to Jackson Arnold, but they're also refreshing the whole defense. The good thing for us, as numerously pointed out ad nauseum, we're returning the number 3 ranked defense in returning production. 86% of it's back. That is huge for a quarterback, right? Like, you want your offensive line to be good for your quarterback. You also want to have a good defense to where not as much is put on his back to have to carry it. Like, the defense is going to have to carry us next season. And that is why I can see us getting to those double-digit wins. I think this defense can do enough to win us games in the SEC this year, because that is the traditional thing of the SEC. It's defenses win games for people, right? Defenses shut down quarterbacks, get pick sixes like Billy Bowman said about Jackson Dart. You see that, and that's kind of what I'm expecting to see out of this defense as well.
I do wonder how good and how improved our zone coverage is going to be this year.
Oh, man, with Des Malone? Ooh.
I feel like on the defensive side of the ball, if you fix that, this is the top 25 defense last year.
Yeah, that was the biggest thing.
You had a lot of young guys that were playing
looking at Oklahoma to win 7.5 games. They're looking at that 9.5 probably.
So I agree with you there.
Yeah, so offensive line and zone coverage. Those 2 things end up being pretty good for you. Oklahoma's going to be doing just fine.
Exactly. All right, let's jump into the next thing. Thank y'all for pulling up. Hit the like button if you're new to the channel. Subscribe. So basically wipe your feet. Check out PG's channel as well as Jason. Y'all know where to find them. Y'all been here numerous times. If not, just rewind to the front and re-listen to them giving you the explanation. But let's jump into this one. We got a nice commitment on Friday. Darius Afalava out of Utah. Oh boy, winning him over Michigan State, Utah, and Washington. He's a Rivals 4-star, but composite and consensus 3-star. Coop interviewed him on Thursday, his pre-commitment, and it was darn good, right? And he's very candid with us, and he talked. There's a couple of super chats in here I want to point out real quick. Fumunda, thank you for the $5. We appreciate it. All of us content creators try to get y'all as much content as possible to keep y'all entertained and us entertained because, we do this because we thoroughly enjoy it. So thank you for that contribution to the house. And also a big shout out to L. Stokes. Thank you. Yes, we saw your comments earlier about us keeping the content going here in the off season. Thank you. More to come. I've still got ratings I got to put out from like Phil Steele and all of that stuff. And you'll see some videos on that probably this week since it'll be a fireworks filled week, even though it is the 4th. But Jason, you're the only one that we didn't get to hear much about here on this channel. I know you talked about it on yours. Darius Afalava with the commitment. What'd you think about that?
First off, love the interview. I watched it as I was working the other night, and it was freaking unbelievable. He does have the worst poker face ever, though. I mean, I kind of pretty much could tell what was going on. Keep the kid on the football field, away from the card table. He'll be fine. But no, I think I was saying it on my show that I really thought what I got the most out of it was a few things. It was how real and how important it was that it was real. You were getting real from BV. You were getting it from Bill Bedenbaugh. There was no – we've talked a lot, Jay, about the fact that Coach Venables, they don't sugarcoat anything. If you're not ready to come in here and this be the hardest thing that you do, then don't come here. And he loved hearing that. The competition part, and then, just as we continue to hear how important the obviously the soul mission is and everything about that. So building relationships, soul mission, and being real with who you are instead of just doing it with flash. That team down in Austin, it's all about Lambos and shit down there, but at Oklahoma, it's real and it's working. And so I think it was a great interview. It really was, man. He was so open and honest about everything. You were talking about that. I think the next show you were talking, Coop, was about Nigel Smith. Wasn't really when we had him on the show with us. He had a real poker face. He wasn't telling us nothing. But this kid was like, he just was really open and had a lot of fun with it. It was it was a great interview. I enjoyed it.
What's crazy about it is he was telling me like he hasn't done interviews. Like he just pretty much stayed out of it. And so obviously you saw, I think in the interview, and the poker face really, really comes out because he loves everything about it. When he said, he made the comment that the only box Oklahoma did not check was the SEC part, was the big conference. And he didn't he hadn't looked in close enough to even know that this was about to happen. So when that happens, he bounces LSU. But I mean, when you have that much affinity, and when Brent Venables and that soul mission, because I do believe it was, I think it was Kerry Murdoch had said during one of their pods, it's like, you got to kind of be really, really attentive. Like, who is that going to mean the most for? And like, how hard do you push the soul mission? Because if it doesn't mean a lot, then, and you push it, it can push folks off a little bit. But for Darius, his family said, we don't care where you go. This is all you. But he said he wanted to start his own pipeline. He's that Samoan pipeline, that poly pipeline, and he wanted to start that. So, just a great kid that I think people are going to absolutely love. And you're starting to see this personality on the offensive linemen, like with Akinkunmi being a big guy coming in. You've got a great mix of character in there, because you still got guys like Myra Ozeta says, he's not a big flashy guy. He's a little bit more of a quieter guy. And so it's when you get to do an interview like that. I told Jay, multiple times, I'm like, he carried that interview. I mean, I could have I could have put a dummy over here and just spoke from across the room, and it'd have been about the same thing instead of this dummy.
Yeah, listen to him talk. He was really good, right? He was very trying to figure out for his age, right? You always got to remember that these are 17-year-olds, and that's kind of like the funny thing when you do the interviews. It's me think about talking to my 16-year-old son. You're dealing with young people, right? Mm-hmm. Those that are becoming young men. And no, he was very solid, as you mentioned, Coop. You got him the questions, and he definitely answered them as you went. He was very involved, and it just touched my soul, man. So Chaos, hey, shout out to you. Gotta shout this out. $20. We appreciate the support to the channel, man. We just out here just trying to do what we can, man. Shout out to the homie USCJ. What's good, man? I know it's been a rocky June, but y'all bounce back. Y'all bounce back in the right way. We ain't even too concerned about that. But for me, this just is going to lead to a nice little avalanche of linemen, right? We had 2 this past week with Sean Hutton as well as Afalava. That's a big pickup for Bedenbaugh, and picking up guys that are quote unquote underrated, or guys that everybody looks at and be like, wait a minute, that's kind of a low rating for them. Ones that don't do a lot of camping and everything. And I was listening to Sooners Illustrated pod while I was at the gym this morning, trying to play catch up on some shows. And CK had mentioned this. Shout out to Colin Kennedy and the team over there. Go listen to that on the YouTubes. But he had made mention that if Sean was like 2 inches taller, he'd probably gotten a ton of D1 offers, right? Like that was probably the one thing that may have slowed down some of his offers. But overall, nah. The kid's got so much potential there. And then, of course, you got the additional ties, right? And we've always said Oklahoma don't offer people unless they actually want them. And they give you they don't give you a committable offer unless they want you, right? Like they give offers, as they're filling things out, but they let you know if it's committable or not. And for him, that was a committable offer. And shoot, Sean was going to do it immediately. He's like, I'll wait it out, see what's going on. But guess what? Yeah, he did it. So we're going to pass to UPG in a second, but Midland Sooners, thank you for the $5. Character holds their head in their hands, saying incredible. Nice. Cleon, appreciate it. Happy Sunday. It's been a nice pre-holiday weekend for you all. It has been. Thank you so much. We're going to be chilling and enjoy ourselves as we prepare to go into Let's See tomorrow. But, PG, since now you've slept on it and everything couple of times, thoughts on Afalava and what that means for the next set of recruits that we know we're going to be going after heading.
Yeah, so Afalava's, I think, a key piece for Oklahoma because he's going to be able to play the guard position for you in a class where it's going to be heavy at the tackle. So I believe Foje will probably still be a flex on the offensive line. So Afalava will give you a little bit more depth there. But when I was talking to him back when he first got the offer, it was all about the atmosphere. It was about the development of character as a person. So Afalava's got all of the right traits for what Brenton Venables or Bill Bedenbow looks in terms of an offensive lineman. Again, the guy that I'm really curious to see who turns out is Sean Hutton. He was given the PWO. He plays center, but I think he could play a little bit of guard for Oklahoma. So he gives me a little bit of Troy Everett vibes, if that kind of is a good comp. But Darius Afalava, it's the first domino to fall in what could be a fantastic week for Oklahoma because you've got quite a few commits coming up over the next week.
We do. And Chaos, yes. Go ahead. SEC.
Yeah, go for it.
SEC. We're going to go ahead and just do it now. Because it was midnight hits. You know what that means. So, yeah, we're definitely going to do that chant as we can now. All right. And Coop, any last thoughts on Afalava before we move into how busy of a day tomorrow really is going to be?
Just keep this in mind. This is a guy that literally had nothing to do with Oklahoma in December. It was literally just bang, bang, bang. And so if you've ever wondered, like, if you commit, you can't visit. If you've ever wondered, about the coaching staff and kind of how they do what they do, that should probably, talks like that. This guy's going to come in and he's going to be a bully. He is going to come in and he is going to be pushing folks. And this is the type of strength. Guy's pushing 400 right now. He's not even started his senior year. And I echo what you said, Jay, because I'm going back and doing the interview with Kamari Moore, and we love just talking to him, and he seemed like he was his kid was 16 years old at the time, and so the doing the character is got to. The character in these kids is amazing, and that's why, for the most part, you stay out of multiple people doing drag racing and stuff like that. Now we had a couple, but somebody's going to slip up at some point. But he's a kid who I think that people are going to shout at him. He's going to come over and he's going to be dabbing up people all this year. Getting in the program with, next year. He's going to be hitting up the fans, and that's what you want because that gets the fans riled up. People want to love these players, and I think that's what makes college football so much better than the NFL.
Yeah, I'm with that. So once again, thanks y'all for pulling up. Hit that like button, wipe your feet, new to the channel, subscribe. We should be having a good 100 likes while y'all are in here tuned in, so make sure y'all make the magic happen there. If you're listening, rate, review, give us 5 stars. Don't think we deserve it. Just give us 5 anyway. All right, Jason's over here talking about my OnlyFans account, man. Don't be telling people that out loud, man.
I just asked if it was. I didn't say it was.
But you asked. You asked out loud. That's something we talk about that offline.
First rule of Fight Club.
Sorry, bro.
If don't ever speak on it, right? And Neo, this is great lead into what we're talking about, right? He was like, Neo was, shout out to you, floored by the Mills crystal ball, which I think we got a crystal chicken wing out there too for it. Shout out to Briggs. We got a crystal chicken wing that went out there from Mills as well as some crystal balls. And yeah, initially, whenever he made the visit to Oregon like 2 weeks ago, it felt like, it was after Oklahoma. It was like, we think that it's probably going to be more of a Oregon or Clemson, because Clemson has always been tied to him, kind of like Brian Wesco was last year.
Right.
Well, it seems like the avalanche of CBs have been coming down, right? I owe y'all a video over there on Sooner or Later Sports on the recruiting channel. I need to get that together, but we got two dudes with like massive crystal balls that came through. You had a bunch of Mills all week, right? So Cortez Mills, the wide receiver, and then Amarion Robinson's got some crystal balls that popped up today. Ain't gonna lie, getting Amarion Robinson. I mean, I know everybody wanted Jonah, but dog, if we get Amarion, oh gosh, we cooked. Brandon Hall cooked in the secondary because a lot of people were very high on Amarion and felt like he was very underrated just because he's in Arkansas. And if we can snatch him away from the Woo Pig Sueys, that's just dumb. PG, tomorrow, you've got Cortez Mills, you've got Smith Orogbo, you got Mark Ehenicher. It's probably the only three I know that are definitely direct ties to Oklahoma. How are you feeling about what's going to go down tomorrow as well as the rest of this week? Who else you think could potentially populate?
Yeah, so I don't think it's a secret anymore. Cortez Mills in Oklahoma, that feels like it's going to be a marriage there. And it's going to be a good one because he caught for 1,600 yards on 79 catches last year. Dude's an absolute baller on the offensive side of the ball. Going to be a weapon, 6'1", super athletic. And again, this is a guy we've talked about that could potentially rise into five-star territory by the end of the year. Like, he's been a really quick riser. So Cortez Mills only took 2 visits to Oklahoma. I think he took like 5 or 6 to Miami. He took a couple to LSU. So this was a really good win for Oklahoma if they're able to hold on and get Cortez Mills tomorrow. Now, the big one being Smith or Rogbo tomorrow. This is the one that I'm really interested to see how it goes down. And we're not seeing a lot of predictions flow in here. And I said it earlier today in my video, but I don't know if we're going to see a lot of predictions flow in, if any at all, for Smith or Rogbo before tomorrow. You might get 1 or 2 rogue ones, just somebody taking their shot at it based off prior information. Texas Tech, Joey McGuire, they made tremendous strides in this recruitment earlier on, especially with the relationship aspect. I think they were one of his first offers, and usually when Texas Tech does that, they have a good shot. Oklahoma, though, when I talked to Smith or Rogbo a while back, kind of asking him the question about the visits and what he thought about Norman and everything like that, like he said, Norman kind of feels like home a little bit. And as I alluded to earlier, when a recruit says something like that along the lines of, hey, it feels like home, generally that's a really good indication that you're going to get that kid's commitment or you're probably going to be in the final 2. Like, a kid just doesn't say that and then not go to a place. Like, that's different from a dream school, if that makes sense. So,
Yep.
Smith or Rogbo, I think tomorrow that's kind of like the 33% shot. I think Texas has got a really good shot at it too. I know they did a really good job on his OV, but again, nobody really has any intel out there on where he might be leaning. I think that's for a reason. Orogbo likes to keep things close to his chest, and I think it's going to be a true surprise on wherever he ends up going. But I think a lot of people would probably favor Tech based on a lot of the earlier info that we had gotten from Orogbo back earlier in the OV process. As far as Marky Hennichor goes, you really like him as a prospect. Not sure we're getting this kid's commitment tomorrow. I know the staff really likes Christian Jones. He came up for the Champion Barbecue. Christian Jones was excited to get that back on the plate. At one point, we kind of thought that was going to fall off when Oklahoma was Darius Rainey-Sell and guys like that. But Christian Jones, as always, enjoyed his time in Norman. Got a chance to actually really develop a relationship with Zach Alley when he was up here, which is something he really hasn't been able to do since Zach Alley has been the linebackers coach at Oklahoma. So Christian Jones is exactly who I would look at right now as the linebacker pick for Oklahoma in this class. I would look at Marky Hinichor probably picking the Ponies tomorrow.
Okay. Yeah, I think because he has a teammate that's going to SMU, right?
He has a teammate that's going to SMU, and then he's got Jaden Neal at Oklahoma.
Yeah, he's at either a teammate or a cousin that was going to SMU, and then you had the Jaden O'Neal piece, in which we were hoping that the Jaden O'Neal influence would come in, but it's okay. We understand because if Christian Jones is going to pull up, yeah, that would be nice. So, cool. Seeing that the crystal balls flew in for Omarion Robinson as well as Mills, how do you feel about Monday for yourself, especially with the move to the SEC? How you feeling about these recruits?
You know, I've been talking a little bit with his other Arkansas counterpart, who's already on deck with us, and just keeping it real. It was dead silent, and he said he wasn't, not getting in there, not messing with it, just letting him have the process. That's one of the hard things is you want to let the process happen for each one of these guys. And so, and I'm talking about Wimberly, obviously, if you didn't know, but I mean, Arkansas just being where it's at right now, and Omarion just won the Rivals 5-star challenge for the defensive backs, and he is a guy that I think is a lot of people thought Arkansas was the go-to, and I think that folks just left it alone. But for every single thing that EJ's doing on the offensive side of the ball for us, I mean, Brandon Hall is absolutely cooking on the defensive side of the ball, and
been doing it since he got here.
And I continue to say this is you can't be just a guy and come in and be a defensive back at Oklahoma anymore. And still, a lot of people don't understand what that means because we've been so plagued by seeing, great guys come in as freshmen, Jordan Thomas, Parnell Motley, guys like that, and then all of a sudden, they just never get better. It seems like they just kind of stay where they're at. And right. I hate that because that's not the kids, that's the coaching at that point. And so you get these higher end prospects, this SEC opportunity, and because I don't think Omarion picks Oklahoma if we are in the Big 12 next year. I really don't. And I think the SEC means something because these guys want to prep and they want to go against the absolute best and they want to be known for defense. And it's hard to, be a defense prospect and go, yeah, I'm going to go to Oklahoma and, I'll be on the field a lot, so I got a lot of tape coming. But, now with a very, very great what would you say? With a great scheme and fit, and now with the defensive attention, these guys want to show up, and they want to go with Coach Hall. And there's going to be a slew of safeties. I mean, with Bowen and Bowman and RSJ, Boganowski, Powers. This is. I mean, we're about to see that return, and there's some guys. I saw that. So a lot of people are like, well, I'd love for him to be 6'3". I want him to be able to hold his own in the box and cover like a corner. And Omarion, I think he was covering in that 7-on-7. If you guys have not seen that, go back and watch that film because he was covering. A lot of people have a hard time cooking when it's that. So you got Malik Hawkins, who cooked out during a lot of the 7-on-7 stuff, and then now Omarion Robinson, Marcus Wimberly. Not only he may try to kill you, he'll pray for you as you go, but he may try to kill you. These safeties are absolutely
headhunters, man.
Headhunters, and people are having a hard time nationally understanding what's going on here. And it went from Oklahoma to now they're dropping bags left and right. Maybe it has something to do with relationships. Maybe it has something to do with coaching staff.
We've been saying it for weeks, Coop. We've been saying it for weeks that in the NIL era, the most important thing to do is build relationships.
Yeah,
that's the most critical thing. If you've got the relationships in place, the players are showing that they trust those people more. Now, in some cases, NIL wins it out. I mean, we just saw that recently
with there for sure, right? You have to pay.
Right. Right, and we saw that with was that Deshaun Brame yesterday, where it seemed like the relationship was heavy with Tennessee and the ties with Tennessee, and then Oregon just walked in and said
that was a wild recruitment. That was a wild recruitment.
So
it was.
The good thing is that contrary to popular belief, we ain't broke. We got bread, and we're seeing where Oklahoma is willing to spend a few dollars here and there on players they actually want, which leads over to Jason, thoughts on these potentials. You've got Amarion's July 6th, so he's not tomorrow, but he's the 6th. Smith Orogbo's tomorrow, and potentially Smith Orogbo, and we're thinking Cortez is definitely tomorrow. What you thinking about that, Jason?
My eyes are just spinning in the back of my head. I can't even understand how this is going on. I was just talking about I think I may have been talking to Bishop Frank about this, but it's just like what's been going on in these last 2 cycles, and really the last 3, but the last 2 cycles, you just like it's just one after another after another after another. And even the ones that are underrated, because there's a bunch of guys that are underrated. We know that. And because they don't go to Chad or they're not going to camps, a bunch of camps and stuff, so they're coming in at 3s, but those are steals. You get a bunch of steals coming out on that. But the secondary, the work in the secondary, Brandon Hall and same with Jay Valai too, they're just getting dude after dude.
They are.
Yeah, come across the middle, see how that goes. You know what I mean? See how that goes. So, and this is the way that you want to go into the SEC is with guys that are going to pop you, man. It can't be soft Oklahoma anymore. Just can't do it. So to me, you got guys that are going to get pressure up front, and then you got guys that can cover and guys that will hit your ass. So this is the beauty of it. If they're going to make a run like that, like what we're talking about, it's going to take that. It's going to take them. Coach is always saying, if they don't score any, you don't have to get many. You know what I mean? So I love it, man. And so if you can get out there and you can hold these guys if you can keep them under 20 a game, man, how many games are you going to win? You can probably win them all. I think there's going to be tougher games than that you're not going to always do that. But what I'm saying is that
no, you're right.
If you can get out there and do that, that's important. Again, I know I said this a little earlier, but I've yet to be worried about the offense. This is a freaking Oklahoma. What are we talking about?
There you go.
We still got dudes. So get out there and do what you're going to do on defense. It's going to be awesome. I'm excited about it. But Omarion, I wasn't expecting that at all.
I think it's
interesting note.
These guys talk way more than it's ever happened before. Between social media and the NIL, things are out in the open. You don't have to hold stuff close to the vest like you used to. These guys, it is. There's a lot more when it comes to these relationships, and then you start seeing some of the defensive stats, and you start going, well, they're always really good on on offense. And so you want to see some violence, and you're starting to see this. You just had Boganowski, his pops on the other day, and wish I could have jumped on that. Obviously it was a crazy day, but what somebody said in the chat, what's the over and under on Boganowski penalties? Like Jay said it, several months ago. He said, we've got that capability to have a guy come in and just set the tone immediately on defense. And that is the mentality of this team. And something that should scare the hell out of absolutely everybody, and I'm going to say something, and a lot of people are going to go, oh, God, I hope if it's true, that's awesome. Kanak is getting it. So you had the football smarts with what he can do athletically, and as long as he can point the arrow in the right direction, like you have the progress and growth of some of these kids that we're going to see this year that we forgot about, and we're gonna have a smile on our face when it comes to defense instead of going, all right, just don't let them score in like 90 seconds. So we're off, So we're going to get defense.
And that's something we expect. So, man, this could be a busy week. And then, of course, you got your offensive lineman. I think I read somewhere, of course, we're chasing Lamont Rogers, Ty Haywood, Michael Fasusi, and Andrew Babalola. So we've got all 4 of them that we're chasing. There's the big 5, for the most part, 5-star offensive lineman tackles, right? We're trying to chase, and we're trying to get at least 2 of them. That is what we're going for. And PG's been preaching this for a while. It feels like there's a chance that Oklahoma can do this. And I think that the One Oklahoma initiative with the NIL and everything, bringing all the One Oklahoma, bringing everything into one place, is really going to give us the opportunity to be able to play with the numbers properly and make something happen. Now, I don't think Fasusi, I think Fasusi said in the interview he's late July, early August. You never know. That could get moved up. It could get moved out. We'll see. I haven't heard a date on Rodgers yet. I think he's also possibly right before school starts.
I would expect him this week.
Really?
I would expect it sometime this week, hopefully.
Who's this week?
I would expect Rodgers sometime this week. Like, I would say between Sunday to Sunday.
Okay. You've got my attention.
Hey, I'd be okay with the little July 4th announcement.
Oh, man, that would be dope. That would actually make my day.
With your shirt that you're wearing right now, July 4th has not been great to people in Oklahoma. I would love for that. Because,
but tomorrow is going to be great for Oklahoma fans because we're going to the SEC, and we're probably getting Isaiah Harnstein tomorrow. So, because, old Presty's pulling his tricks, and he's flying to Oregon today to go see him.
Gotta love Sam Presti doing what he does best, upsetting everybody else around him.
No, I don't think the Rodgers recruitment lasts very much longer. He's taken his official visits. I mean, it seems like he knows where he wants to go. I mean, the intel's favoring Oklahoma pretty heavily there. I don't think we're going to have to wait too much longer there.
Okay.
And so if you're in the chat, and I just want to give props out to PG. PG with this offensive lineman set. These are relationships that you've had for a year plus. And so it's not from, reading message boards, this is what I feel or anything like that. This is the conversations. And that's kind of where PG and I have been really, really changing kind of how we do stuff is, instead of just trusting a bunch of other people and, trying to read the tea leaves, like let's have the conversations with the guys. And again, we're never going to break anything, and I'm never going to tell any, because I don't think I even told Jay when Afalava said, this is my spot. I'm committing tomorrow. I just try to allude to it the best of my ability to you guys. And PG, you've done a fantastic job about this. And so if you guys don't follow PG, go through and watch his stuff, and because he's done a great job this cycle. Yeah. And you're already working on 26 and 27 guys, too. And so it's a hard deal to do because, when you're a 30-year-old, 40-year-old man tweeting at 16-year-old kids, about football stuff, there's some delicacy that goes into that, and there's some trust because, these guys get hit up by dozens and dozens of people a week.
So that's the good thing is that PG's like, 12 and a half, 13. So because he's right there. Because he's close in proximity of age, it makes it easy. Again,
he's just
giving PG his flowers on this, dude.
I mean, to put it in perspective, last year I was talking to an offensive lineman about cars, and we were literally talking about him potentially committing to Michigan and slapping, because he had a blue Dodge Challenger and slapping the the yellow Michigan logo on his blue car. Like, that's the kind of stuff we talk about. Like, it's sometimes shooting the crap.
Hey, man,
yeah, and it works.
Some kids like relationship building, bro. Same as anything.
Yeah, and they like that, And like I said, PG's been nails on it. He's who I go to for a lot of my recruiting stuff. Hence why he's usually on here on a regular basis to talk about that. I've seen the screenshots of conversations. I know he talks to people, and I only reveal what I'm allowed to and talk through. But PG's been nails on a lot of this stuff, especially this cycle. He's been nails. Like, I got to give it to you, dog. You've been the one. You've been the one giving us the. You've been pretty nails on it. So
now we're just working on a commitment. We just need Fasusi to come on the show and be like, "Listen, I'm coming to Oklahoma."
Yeah, we gotta figure out a way to get somebody to come on your show and just go ahead and give full commitment and say, "I'm in."
Gosh, how many recruits have I had on the show and we just haven't been able to make it happen?
Just get one of them to say it, like right there, and be like, "Yeah, I'm in."
I shot my shot with Cortez Mills yesterday, because he dropped that he's going to be doing it, and I said, "Hey man, if you need a platform, hit us up." So if you guys see that tweet. go hit him up. I don't know if he's doing 247 or not yet, but I mean 247's doing some really good stuff with those commitments. You just got to keep in mind that if they're committing at 4:30, we're going to hear it at 4:50 because they're going to cover some Notre Dame and Colorado stuff for 20 or 30 minutes.
You won't, yeah. You won't hear that on our shows. We'll just immediately get right into the interview and.
I mean, that's the game. The whole goal is get people to watch the show for a while, and unfortunately, that's the best way is to, get them to watch it for that long. So, all right, Jason, you think we can close out on all these people, man?
I mean, why not? I mean, it's really different. I mean, this is one of those. I was thinking about it when the last year of Lincoln, and I hadn't started the channel just yet, but it was like, man, what's going on? You were having a lot of decommits and stuff like that. Even then, just a lot of weird stuff that was happening. And then now, and you just never seem to get those guys. And the question was, okay, are they finally going to put this thing together on the defensive side of the ball? And I know they had a couple of guys, that were getting in a little bit of trouble and doing some stuff like that, but they look like they might be headed in the right direction. And it was just always that feeling of we weren't quite getting there. And now it's just like an embarrassment of riches, man. I just love it. And it's every one of them, they say the same thing. They say the same thing, that they connected with these guys and that, they love the connection that they made. Yeah, I think they can do it, man. I think they can get whoever they're really trying to go after and get. I just think, obviously, you got to hold them. None of it really matters until they sign at the end. But that's one thing that they've done a really freaking good job. That's done a really good job of just locking them in. They don't. I think you go back to, what you remember when we found out about how BV didn't want you to commit until you were committed because he wasn't, and people were like, "What the hell? That ain't gonna work. That ain't gonna work." It works.
Yeah, it's kind of wild how that happens, right?
Just wants you to. I mean, we could be sitting here with our 5th massive decommitment at this point, and no shot at anybody in the chat. Love you. Sorry for your losses, but it is. Let's make sure, because that's one of the toughest things to see as a program and as a fan, and as a teammate, because they're starting relationships too. Is what happens when. If you commit and you're an Oklahoma commitment and you're talking about visit, I've got 3 official visits still left up. Why? Official visits are to go check out to see where you want to commit. If you commit and then go take 6 official visits, you're doing a placeholder. And at that point, how do you go with that? How do you have those conversations? Because we know that you're not about Oklahoma 100%, and so this strategy
that was foreign to us whenever he started doing that.
Yeah.
That was the thing. It was foreign to everybody,
And nobody liked it, and everybody wanted to trust BV. I mean, you had Teddy and Gabe, who know Brent Venables personally and played for him, and they were still like, let's see what happens here. And so now people are believing, and it takes a special staff to do that type of thing, because you can't just do that and be taking goofy pictures with recruits and weird stuff like that. That's got to be all about who you are.
Agree with that. And to wrap up on the recruiting side of this, just make sure all y'all are tuned in and sticking around. Watch our channels, pay attention, keep your eyes open, because as soon as these commitments go down, PG's going to have something in his breakdown. I'm going to have my breakdown. Jason's going to definitely talk about it. Probably either on the morning actually, most likely we ain't going to have much morning stuff. Probably be on the Tuesday show. So make sure you pull up, check them out or whatnot. We'll probably dive into it more on Wednesday when me and Coop go live. But, all right, we know tomorrow all the festivities are going down in Norman in celebration of this move. I forgot to mention this earlier. Definitely wanted to talk about that real quick. As well as, if you've checked out the merch, as our guy Coop here is rocking the Yamaha shirt for our boy DeMarco Murray. Well, I got a big slew of merchandise launching tomorrow for the move into the SEC. Getting the renders put together now for the promo look, but I got a whole bunch more Sooner vintage type gear that's gonna be dropping as soon as we get into SEC. So you know your boy's going to be excited. I'm going to be pumped. Make sure y'all keep an eye out for that. All right.
Yeah, make sure to buy Jay's merch and not go to the equipment cell tomorrow so that I have more good stuff.
PG, I need you to pick me up a few things in large and medium,
right.
and I'll Venmo you extra money for grabbing some stuff. If they have shoes in size 13,
Jay, I'm getting
Grab
there. I'm tempted to get there and get in line at 10 a.m. because
if you do, I got you. I need 13. Size 13 is the size I need. That's the only size that that's my size. So. And very hard to find on anything. And if you find them there, holla at
I'm
your
sure
boy.
they've got them there. I'm sure they've got bigger sizes than 13.
Oh, of course. They got ginormous human beings stuff that they're going to be getting rid of. So,
I'm just hoping we get some 11 Concords tomorrow over there because they've been giving those out like candy to the players. Or
those
Jordan,
custom Concords?
yeah, or Jordan 3s. I'll take those too.
Jordan 3s would be pretty legit.
Yeah.
I agree with you there. Okay, well, let's wrap it up. Put a bow in. I think we'll jump. We had a few statements and questions in here from y'all that I'm gonna go ahead and let me filter down to the comments that I starred. I want to dive into. First, to the Cowboy mentioning that we've got Amarion Robinson to OU. A lot of CBs have come through, so of course we're excited. Monty, shout out, bro. What's good with you? He mentions in here, and I saw Jason responded, love seeing Lanning do the Lord's work in this recruiting cycle by stuffing Sark in a locker several times. Dog, things in Texas are a little weird. They have lost some.
Their recruiting strategy seems eerily familiar to somebody else.
They're
super offensive heavy and struggle bus on defense. I feel like I've seen this video game before.
Well, that's the thing is that they were doing fine initially, but then all of a sudden,
Bo Davis left, and then they just
things started to change. Shocked the mess out of me. Didn't expect it. Not gonna lie.
USC fans and Texas fans are not okay right now.
Yeah, it's
Especially
been
if USC loses Juju. Like I don't know if you saw. He took away.
He took everything down.
Took everything down. We'll see how long it lasts. I can't proclaim that is definitely going to happen, but I'll say this.
Listen, I just want him to go to Indiana because that's where he took an official visit. I want him to go to Indiana. Just want it to happen.
Well, he took an official visit, but to visit his old coach. That was a favor.
I want him to take an OV or I want him to end up in Indiana so that we can all laugh about Lincoln Riley losing a 5-star quarterback to Indiana.
Another one. I mean, his last one's gone to Boise State, so it's always interesting. But no, I'm more intrigued by him going to Colorado, and that's because I know a lot of people ain't the biggest on the Prime train or the Prime fanship. I love the chaos that's there. I thoroughly enjoy it. And I want to see if his unorthodox approach works. I think there's a possibility it can't. Now, granted, he's going to have to do a lot more in this recruiting trail, but I'm intrigued by it. I am very intrigued by it. So,
if we're talking a little bit of off topic, I mean, he's done pretty well since he's gotten there. He's gotten Jordan Seaton last cycle.
Yeah.
And
he's pulling 5 stars.
Yeah, I mean, he's only got 5 commits here in this cycle, but I think Dion is one of those coaches where you're going to see him pick up probably really late, and you're going to see him get a lot of skill guys through flips is what I think you're going to see Dion do. Especially if he goes out there and has a 6 to 8 win season, I think you're going to start to see a lot of kids want to jump on board. It's kind of like Oklahoma, right? Like, if Oklahoma goes out there and wins 11 games, we might be flipping some dudes.
Yeah, as the season goes on, that's our biggest thing. We just got to go in there and keep winning. If we keep winning,
the guys you can get, man, when you can get them,
right? That's there. So
you really think they're going to get 2 5-star guys, or are you thinking that Foji's going to be a 5-star and they're going to get one of those other 2?
So Foj will probably be a 5-star. He's been rising. And
he's been rising. I don't see them giving him that much love.
I think with a strong senior season, he'll get there. Because we've seen 5-stars jump from 200 to 5-star territory before in the last rankings. I think you get Fasusi, and then Rogers. Rogers is not a 5-star, I think, on any of the boards, but he's like 46.
He's top 50, right?
He's like OJ. Right, he's scratched the surface. So. Yeah, I think, and now Babalola, I think, is the interesting one. And I was talking to Jay about this. He took pictures with Owen Hollenbeck, Ryan Foje, and Kevin Sperry. That wasn't a coincidence. Like, there's a reason why. Like, C.J. Nixon took a picture with the commits because he committed at that time. Andrew Babalola took pictures with 2 offensive linemen that are committed and a quarterback. Nothing's been confirmed or official, but I'm just saying, if you can land Babalola, which it doesn't seem like that one's a money battle.
Cinema, baby.
Hey, if we do that, we might not need any offensive linemen next cycle. Like, you might take 2 guys.
Right. That'd be a big one there. Okay, next one. T has a pretty good question. I like this. Who is that one team y'all don't want to lose to?
Missouri.
Cool.
Man, I
shit ain't happen.
I'm just not gonna. I just don't want to have like a small market team mentality to where, like, you know, if it's national championship. I mean, if we get better every single. I'm gonna go extremely political talk here, but if you don't go, if you lose somebody, you know, middle of the season, lose to one Missouri, but then you make a playoff run, you make a national championship run. I don't give a damn about the loss in the season. Now, Missouri,
who earned an ass whipping, man. That's happening.
Yeah. I think that Missouri is one that. I think that Missouri has angered the coaching staff. So I mean, it's just still got to be Texas for me. If you want to take your lunch and if you want to continue to be the bully, then yeah, it's Texas.
Yep. Well, and I think that's kind of where I would be on it too. I don't want to lose to Texas ever, but I'm not worried about Mizzou at all. Just not. I think they just earned their ass whipping. That's all.
Well, yeah. So for me, it's Missouri. Like, Texas is always it, so I try to exclude them from any conversation for myself. Missouri is the one I don't want to lose to Missouri. I think that would be the one that would bother me the most.
What about outside of Missouri? Because I think Missouri is too easy. Like,
I think Missouri's one on my list. If I was to go with a second, it's Auburn.
Yeah, that's what I was going to say.
Auburn.
I wouldn't want to lose that one either, but I also think you want to be the first team that, like, Lane Whiffen doesn't whiff on.
Yeah, I mean, he the big games is where he usually has shown.
It's going to be a big game. It's going to be a big game. You know it is.
Lane Kiffin's team is good enough to beat you. Auburn's team is not good enough to beat you. Like, Auburn's team is the K-State. Like, what if we go?
Oh man, we haven't seen those portal teams come together yet. Not yet.
Yeah, like, that's where I'm at. The mercenary teams don't ever until one of them works. I'm not too scared of the mercenary teams.
Attaboy, Hankster.
All your games lose to Auburn, we're literally going to sit back in our chairs and go, "Damn, exactly what we did in the Big 12. We lost to a team we shouldn't have."
Yeah, I think LSU, to me, is one that I could respect because it's in Death Valley. And, I mean, as much as we, like, have a disdain for him as a person, Brian Kelly's a good coach, right? He does enough to get consistent wins out of it. Heck, he walked in to a horrible Ed Orgeron team and got him 10 wins, which is more of an indictment on Ed Orgeron. But he walked in there, got the transfer he needed, he got the dubs. I can't be mad at him for that. Kellen DeBoer is a fantastic coach. He's proven it. Everywhere he go, he's won with everybody else's people. And now he's got a school that's got so much heavy backing that he getting just dub at the dub. Can't be mad at that one. Those two, especially end of the season, I would not be mad. I would totally understand. It's these ones where teams still don't know what to expect out of us that would really bother me, really, right? Tennessee wouldn't be upset. Not really that, because I also like Tennessee as a team. That's my other team that I've been a fan of. That was my original SEC team. But Josh Heupel, he's a Sooner. Can't be mad at the fact that he would be able to figure something out, but I don't expect it. I don't expect it from him. I think Hugh Freeze still needs another year because he needs to bring in himself a quarterback that's going to be consistent. And that's been his issue. Once he gets that, I think he's going to be a thorn in everybody's side, which might be in 25, but we'll see what that looks like. Ole Miss, the Lane train, man, he be balling. But after what I saw they look like against Tulane last year, we ain't got no excuse. Because Tulane should have won that game if they had their starting quarterback. If Platt was playing, that's a done deal for them boys. It's 100% to me, Missouri and Texas. Missouri, Auburn, and Texas are 3 schools that I do not want to lose to next year. All right, that last comment that we got in here. Over under for Boganowski targeting calls. So, I'm going to keep it a buck on this. I don't think I see us having a bunch of Boggs playing, but in the 2 games he plays, I could totally see him getting a personal foul in one of them.
It's
cool.
So, and I've shared this story before, but during the spring game, we were underneath the stadium grabbing a drink, and we were with Isaiah Autry's pops, Marcus Dent, shout out to Coach Dent, Boganowski, and who else? Somebody else we were playing. And when that happened, we're sitting there talking to him, and I'm watching the TV right above his dad's head. And I was like, oh, I think your boy just, yep, he just killed somebody. And he didn't even turn around and look. He's like, yeah, he missed a tackle earlier too. So the guy, like, if he takes after his pop, I love Mike. If he takes out, I mean, you've got a lot of that in several of these guys. I mean, Robert Spears-Jennings may be the healthiest he's ever been, and he's been running around. And you know, we talk about guys like Jaden Rowe, who looks like a dadgum transformer. You know, there are so many guys. He is a massive, massive dude. So yeah, I mean, so if you, I mean, I said it earlier, you know, in the year, is if you're a team and you're one of those first 4 out of conference games, and you've got the refresh of guys like Powers and Boganowski and Kobe McKenzie, you know, leading that team, or whoever is the second tier, guys on the linebacker. That's not fair or fun for you, because you've been getting your butt ran up and down the field all day, and then the second team guys are hungry as hell and want to hit somebody that doesn't wear crimson and cream for the first time, and for the season. So. I mean, you're going to see a couple. You're going to see a couple of penalties, and I'm okay with it, because you throw an absolute attitude adjustment hit, or what was I call it? I call it impact therapy to my son every once in a while. You have one of those guys come in and make a business decision, catch the ball over the middle. RSJ hits him, Stutzman, whoever. This team is going to want to set a tone from day one this year. And so Boganowski, I bet he ends up with at least 3 before the end of the season. Okay.
Jason, how many do you think he's going to end up with?
I don't know, man. I think his pops is a disciplined guy, so maybe not. Maybe the under. I'll go with the under there, man. Just trying to be cool. I don't know. But I will tell you this.
It's fair.
They could pass them around a little bit. It wouldn't hurt anybody. You got to be careful about how many of them you get. And plus, you can get yourself hurt too. But, hey, I think, like I said, come across the middle. Reggie Powers will do it to you too. You know what I mean? Like,
yeah, we got to be some really
RSJ is a monster.
Yeah, we do. We got some pretty big dudes on there. PG, what you think?
Mm-hmm. I'd say one, but I want to know who's going to be our McCade Matower on the offensive line for when somebody lays a hit on Jackson Arnold and decides that they want to beat some heads.
Oh well.
I'll text Akinkumi and be like, hey, just tell the coach whatever you need to do. One play, get in there.
No, you just gotta show him. But you gotta show him that play from last year where McCade Matower got the unsportsmanlike, had to walk off the field because
and the president gave him a
Harris gave him death right as he rolled out.
Gave him some pound when he was leaving.
From what I understand, Wee Woo is has a little bit of a nasty streak in him too on the field.
Yes, I love hearing
because I can promise you this: Afalava, he won't say anything about it. He'll just go out there and do it, and then walk to the sideline and sit down.
That's a good point. Okay, last one here. We got Chaos with another $2. Thank you so much for that. What song should the Sooners walk out to?
Oh, okay. So I have my theory on this.
He has a theory. This is terrifying. This is the thing I don't listen to PG on. So go ahead, PG.
When they're wearing the anthracite, or I can't ever say it right.
Anthracite, yeah.
They need to do the bells and everything cool, all that, great. Then they need to shut all the lights off in the stadium. And it always needs to be a night game. Like Penn State has their whiteout game. Ours needs to be a night-out game for this. And they need to play Back in Black while these guys are running out.
Ooh.
I don't know what they do for the other games, but for that game specifically, that's what I want to see.
Ooh.
Back in Black, running out of the tunnel. Dark in the whole stadium.
Okay.
I used to listen to Metallica 1 before I went out on the field.
Well, the bells are from a Metallica song, so I mean,
Hell's Bells, yeah. I still said, Till I Collapse by Eminem. If you can do that one. I mean, that one just hits for me, and I like the Timmy Trumpet one somebody mentioned up there earlier too. Not the closer from the Mets. I forget the name of the song. My kids absolutely love it, but yeah, that one's pretty dope one right there too.
The Triumph from Wu-Tang.
Oh, the Triumph. That would be intriguing.
Triumph is good.
Triumph is good.
And I gotta give props to the guy that said it in there first. He said Wu-Tang, something from Wu-Tang anyway.
Huh.
Man, I love Wu.
Oklahoma's walk-in song I think is hard because I feel like I feel like that part of the game is so congested anyways with having your 1 minute clip of there's only one and then you have your scene setter. I think it's just really congested as it is. So like having a walk-up song I think is hard, or a walk-in song is hard. And then finding the one walk-in song is hard. But to be honest,
I think I may have one.
You really need Carrie Underwood to write you a song. They should have had Toby.
Get it. I will stab you. I stab myself, so I will stab you.
I do agree somebody needs to write the song, but honestly, I think I got one because PG, you kind of alluded to it perfectly. We have our intro and everything, and we always talk about there's only one, right? They should just go ahead and go out there to the instrumental of "Not Like Us," because ain't nobody like us. There's only one.
I like it.
It's only one Oklahoma.
This song
Wu-Tang, but Wu-Tang will be good too. I actually like the idea of the Wu. That would actually be pretty dope.
What about
Killer Bees?
What about one that has done us well before? What about Jump Around?
Don't they do that somewhere in the SEC already?
I think somebody else does do that in the SEC.
Does. However, though, if we're
Wisconsin.
Alabama 48-7 at halftime, they better play Jump Around at halftime for me.
Now, Monty, this is interesting. Nelly's number one.
Yeah.
Nelly number one is interesting. That's intriguing. But yeah, I mean,
State J. Cole, Stepchild, Stokes. Yeah.
Just anything to really emphasize that there is only one of something. But I got one more last thing we're going to do before we get out of here. Coop, I think you threw this in one of our group chats a minute ago. I saw it by accident, and oh my God, this is hilarious. Paul Finebaum, man, that dude is like a legendary troll. I don't think y'all realize just how legendary of a troll this man is. He does this stuff on purpose.
Yes, he does.
And yeah, he just got interviewed recently, and we're gonna.
Oh, is this the interview that I just sent y'all?
Was PG? Was you the one that sent it?
Oh, I mean, I just sent one in the group chat earlier in our collective group chat.
Oh no! This is for. You might have. I'm not sure. I just know that just now I got it.
Is it the interview with Tyler Fields? Or
yes. I didn't see that you had sent it, so I'm gonna go ahead and add this for us to listen to. And
hold on, real quick, before we move on to this. So, I don't know if there's any OU people actually listening to this, but if they ever do, you guys have a professional sports team like 20 miles down the road that does an excellent job with intros for the Thunder. And then you've got the Kansas City Chiefs up, 300 or 400 miles up the road that do a great intro as well with drums. And Oklahoma is Native American land. So wouldn't be mad if we stole the Thunder's intros with drums, because the Thunder thing where everybody's clapping, imagine 90,000 people all clapping
Yeah.
together and then going into something. Like, yeah, that's intimidating. It doesn't have to be a song. Just make it something intimidating. Like Enter Sandman at Virginia Tech. I feel like that's
Oh God, I love that so much.
yeah, like I
love
mean,
that
it's just
so
things
much.
like that. It doesn't have to be a song, but just the atmosphere, the vibe of it.
Just like a good instrumental. That.
But if
like
they
I
would
said,
just hire somebody from the Thunder to do it, I feel like we would get a much better fan experience.
possibly.
It's also
Shout
going
out
to hit a little bit. It's going to hit it's going to hit a little bit different when we're not playing all our games at 11 a.m. too. Just keep
Well,
that
yeah,
in
that's
mind.
true. We'll have some late
that in
afternoon,
mind.
evening games to get excited
Yeah.
about. So it's a fair
It'll be
point.
well
Will be.
Game up with these scene setters.
Those
Shout out
night
Will
home
B.
games.
Shout out to you, Will B, for the 10. We appreciate it. Thank you. And thank you. Yes, we keep you informed. We enjoy it because it's fun. But this is what I wanted y'all to hear. Paul Finebaum decides to troll. Y'all ready? Listen to this man.
We've had to tiptoe around it, but not tiptoeing anymore. I mean, we're downright celebrating tonight.
I have no intentions to tiptoe, Paul. Who will be the starting quarterback for Texas at the end of this upcoming season?
That will be Arch Manning. I don't need to tiptoe around that. That is guaranteed. You heard it. And we may even see him a little bit throughout the season.
And so like you said,
Yeah, y'all heard that, right?
Well, okay,
Paul Finebaum already proclaimed.
hold on,
that
hold
he-
on. So listening to it again, he said at the end of the season. Well, that's because Quinn Ewers ain't coming back. So he's talking about like at the end of the season.
No. This season. Who's going to be the starting quarterback by the end of this season? Like, by the end.
It would be Malik Murphy if he's still there.
Let's
We've had to
play
tiptoe
it
around
again.
it, but not tiptoeing anymore. I mean, we're downright celebrating tonight.
I have no intentions to tiptoe, Paul. Who will be the starting quarterback for Texas at the end of this upcoming season?
That will be Arch Manning. I don't need to tiptoe around that. That is guaranteed. You heard it. And we may even see him a little bit throughout the season.
and so what?
He said, guys, that sounds like he's thinking Quinn's gonna be out.
Well, he just like us. He knows Quinn ain't no good. He talked about it last year on the show several times. Like Quinn Ewers is not a good quarterback.
I think
No.
it's just wild that Finebaum feels the need to do that heavy of a troll. Cool.
Oh, I loved it. Good stuff.
It's
I love me some.
yeah,
Paul.
yeah. Ewers is. I mean, listen. Texas lost almost every single difference maker. They bring back an erratic quarterback. Now again, against Alabama, I don't know what's going on. I don't know if people were. If something crazy came out and like he was, in Alabama, something was throwing the game or something like that, it would make sense because his two best games he's ever played were against Alabama, and then he is absolutely just erratic with so many other people. There's going to be some Spencer Rattler, Caleb Williams type situations happening, and we talked about it last year. That's going to be something. So if Quinn and he always gets hurt at some point in the season in the Big 12. So now in the SEC, and now with him mouthing off like he did yesterday, saying we're going to be everybody's biggest game, son, calm down. Yeah, last year was the exception, not the rule.
Love hearing that.
Texas is back to 8-4 is really the mean. So you don't have any of your playmakers, which vastly underperformed last year. You lost all of your guys up the middle. Texas is going to have an issue on defense, and they're going to have an issue on offense trying to develop what's going on. Listen, there's going to be some arch chants going on in Texas, and once that happens, we're going to see who Sark is. We're going to see who Sark bows down to, and we're going to see if he runs that program because a lot of us don't think that he does.
To be honest, though, I mean, if he succumbs to the arch chance, he's doing the right thing. I mean, Ewers.
We don't know that yet, PG. The only thing we've ever seen Arch do well was throw against that
The thing is, though, okay,
weak sauce Texas secondary.
if he
but
starts
those were
cycling through his quarterbacks, like if he switched to Arch and then Arch isn't good and he switches to another quarterback, like he's doing the right thing at that point by switching to quarterbacks and figuring out which one's working, which one is the right quarterback. Now, yes, if he goes to Arch and then Arch is just bad and he doesn't switch again, like, okay, yeah, like you know what kind of coach he is at Texas. But if he starts to change quarterbacks around even past Arch, I mean, Sark's just trying to find the right guy. Quinn Ewers is not that good of a quarterback. Like last year, he improved 69% completion percentage, but he only threw 22 touchdowns. And look at all the weapons.
Could you imagine if they'd have had like? Could you imagine if they'd have had like freaking Shador Sanders playing in Texas? Nobody would have. That would have been so bad.
Just flip flop quarterbacks. What if you had Dylan Gabriel?
Yep.
with all those weapons and everything.
Scary.
Yeah,
Scary.
and that offensive line that Texas had.
But but they don't have all that. That's the whole thing that I've been saying this whole time too, is like so many things have to go well for Texas to be what they were last year. It has to go just perfect, and they're all got to hit on their transfer guys. Because they're not getting it done. They're not getting it done on the D line. They're letting Oregon come in and take guys from Texas and get them out of there. And then they're talking and making excuses about damn NIL. If you're Texas, you don't get to make NIL excuses.
No.
Well, I think what the media is so high on with Quinn Ewers, though, for Texas is you've got DJ Campbell, you've got Kelvin Banks Jr. and guys like that on that offensive line. Like both of those guys are potential first-round picks. Kelvin Banks, I think, for sure is a first-round pick. Sure. So I think they look at the protection that Quinn's going to have and say he should throw 70% completion percentage of his passes next season. Which, if you've got Isaiah Bond that you're throwing to, like you should be good. The question is Ewers going to be able to throw 72% of his passes like he should? Like with that kind of offensive, if Oklahoma had that offensive line, we're calling national championship.
Oh yeah.
I mean, if Oklahoma has Texas's offensive line, we're calling for a national championship.
They'd be nastier.
Yeah.
So nasty. So nasty.
Not
yeah,
so
like they're like who's their running back?
That offensive line couldn't get 1 yard.
Yeah,
probably Baxter.
Baxter's going to be the
Cedric
starter.
Baxter's that 5-star running back they got. Like he should be able to run circles on everybody with that offensive line. Like Texas's offensive line is stupid.
Soft.
We'll see. They did very, very good against a Big 12 schedule, and they had Washington. I just don't trust in the resolve of Texas as a football team, and until they prove to me that resolve is there, the only resolve I've seen out of Texas is Sam Ehlinger. That guy was Tim Tebow light, and he willed Texas to everything that they got when he was under center.
He was so good for them. He was so good for them.
He really was. He was really good. Okay.
They got Ryan Wingo. I forgot about that. I forgot they got him in the last cycle.
Yeah, they got some young wide receivers, man. We got some young ones, and they got the transfers in. We just got to see what they actually going to turn out to be.
And they got that one wide receiver who talked about how they only win swimming trophies and then ended up going.
Jonte Cook.
Yep.
Yeah.
Chaos.
And Jonte Cook's the returner. Yeah. They've got a lot of guys that are breaking in, so we'll see what it looks like. All right. We're going to wrap it up, put a bow in it. We'll go around the horn, get final thoughts. Coop, Jason, and then PG, you end us up.
Here's my final thought is, yes, we are heading to the SEC tomorrow. But the Big 12, this is more than just the Big 12. We are leaving, the Big 8, that Southwest. I mean, there have been massive storylines. There's a lot of history in the Big 12. And I think that just with what the Big 12 did not do for Oklahoma, that's why a lot of us are very, very, very excited to leave and to get out and to actually have some respect. And so for the SEC scheduling, that's already shown up before we've played a game. Yeah. So I 100%, I say this. We passed the torch. I'm passing it to Utah. Utah, take care of this place. Run it like we did, and absolutely, we appreciate the Big 12. I mean, obviously, we won, more than half the Big 12 championships, but there's so many great memories, and that does not mean that we have to forget them because the SEC is something exciting. This is just where college football is going now, and you have to do what's best for your program. You have to get the eyeballs. The TV revenue is absolutely everything, and for someone who just left that world last year, that's what it is. So, again, let's enjoy the SEC, but everybody go back, think about some of those Big 12 memories. Think about guys like Jamal Toombs at Texas A&M. Think about Ricky Williams. Think about Ndamukong Suh. There were some really, really amazing times in the Big 12, and I will miss it just a little bit, but again, this is a new era of football, and I'm super excited about it.
I'm stoked. Jason.
Shout out to Neilio real quick. He's our K-State brother, and he was not happy with that take, man.
Hey, listen.
Shout out to Neilio. Hey, man, got to love for Nilo. And I actually like K-State this year, too, with their quarterback. I like their situation that they got going on. But I'll tell you this, having covered the Big 12 for a long time, I'm a Big 12 fan. I wasn't a fan of the way that things were being done with Dan Beebe or Bob Bowlesby. They got a guy in there now that hopefully they can keep it together. I'm excited about where that's headed. But as a Sooner fan, yes, I'm super pumped up about the SEC. And I mean, I'm telling you, I'm been kind of tired of hearing about what Oklahoma isn't going to be in the SEC. So I'm ready for them to get in there and kind of show what they're going to be. And all the love, all the hate for Brent Venables and this amazing staff that we see that are building these relationships and bringing in these players that are going to get it done. It's exciting, man. It's just an exciting time. Can't wait to get out there on the road, tailgating, hanging out with the SEC crowds. It's going to be a lot of fun, man. It's just, I feel like I got to pinch myself all the time. I'm excited about this stuff so much, but appreciate you having me on there, Jay. We'll be on in the morning on Rise and Shine College Football right here at 10 a.m. Eastern Time on at CFB-pod. So everybody jump in there and check in with us, and we'll see you then.
Make sure you tap in on Jason. They be getting it in the mornings, man. PG.
Yeah. Glad we're leaving the Big 12. It's finally over. No more, less 11 a.m. kickoffs. I'm hoping the SEC just gives the middle finger to the Big 12 and just schedules us 12 p.m. kickoffs instead of 11 a.m. so that we can just say, well, at least it wasn't 11 a.m. No 11 a.m. kickoffs, right? We only, it was 12 o'clock. But yeah, no.
I just want to sleep in after y'all drinking.
Bittersweet. Like, I've got to experience a lot of
I don't drink anymore, but I get it. Yeah.
Yeah, no, one of my favorite games in the Big 12, it was in 2017. We played number 6 TCU at home. That was a really big game.
Yeah.
I think that was a national game that day. So, obviously, everybody's got theirs. You got the Nebraska games, Colorado games, because Colorado at one point was really good. And then you have the jump around game in 2008, which we were just talking about with Texas Tech. So, going to the SEC, though, we're going to have a lot more memories, and it's just going to mean more there. That's what they say, right? But somebody in the chat was asking me for a horns down. So I'm going to end mine with this, which is as Michael Fasusi did with, was it Jordan Scruggs, or it was one of the On3 Texas people. He was like, wait, is this how you do it? Oh, wait, it's supposed to be like this. And then but he started out like this. So, yeah, that's how you do it.
That's hilarious. And shout out to Susie
that interview, but that interview was glorious. He's like, he was like, you want to give him the horns up logo? And he's like, oh, wait, hold on.
You're doing it all wrong. Exactly. Shout out to Susie for that one. That was pretty good. And I'll close this out. Remember, the celebration's going down tomorrow down in Norman. If you're willing and able, go check it out. They're going to be doing some fun stuff. Definitely going to be an exciting time because why? We are now in the SEC. For those that don't want to chant, I totally get it. No reason to do the chant. You ain't got to. But the beauty of it is that because of our Bluetooth ratio, we ready. So, for everybody in here, we are out, and we'll chop it up with y'all. You will hear from all of us tomorrow. So, peace.